The first round of the NBA playoffs is here. It is time for some predictions. This is always one of my favorite videos on this channel throughout the entire NBA season, the first round predictions. I typically do a very, very good job at predicting these NBA series. I don't want to give myself a pat on the back or anything because it's the NBA, right? Usually the best team wins, but I'm going to give myself a bit of a pat on the back. If you're wondering what the hell you just watched, I was supposed to edit myself patting myself on the back, but I forgot to record the part where I patted myself on the back. So as a punishment for me being a dumbass, I decided I'm just going to leave the part where I stand there awkwardly in the video, just to confuse you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye. Last year, I only missed one series, and that's because I did a little bit of light trolling and picked the Raptors to beat the 76ers because I thought it was hilarious. But I got every other series right and almost down to the game. So I'm hoping for similar luck this time around. All right, let's just get right into it. Before we get started, I do want to say, one, I will be streaming pretty much every single game of this postseason on this channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys tune in. It's going to be a blast. The streams are so much fun. We're going to do games. We're going to do some drinking, some gambling, real degenerate shit here on this channel, okay? We're going to have viewers calling in. We might have a guest or two. Who knows? We might commit some light treason at some point. Everything's on the table for this postseason, so make sure you guys tune in. It's going to be a blast. And two, I want to talk about some stuff that I think is very important when it comes to the playoffs. Some things that I factor in whenever I'm making picks or I'm betting on teams. And those are two numbers that always stick out to me. That is defense and half-court offense. The two most important things in the playoffs, in my opinion. Obviously, defense, that goes without saying. But since the game slows down to such a slow pace in the playoffs, half-court offense, generating offense in the half-court and being great at it becomes more important than ever. Those are the numbers I look at. If you go back to 2010, there's only been 3 teams that have won a championship that have been outside of the top 10 in both defensive rating and half-court offensive rating, and that is the Lakers, who did it in the bubble in 2020 and in 2010, right? But Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and the bubble, we have to factor that in, and the Golden State Warriors, who did it last year. And that's the Golden State Warriors. So it's incredibly rare unless you have top 6 players on your team or are one of the best dynasties this league has ever seen. So keep that in mind. It's not really going to factor in that much now, but just keep that in mind moving forward throughout the playoffs. And if you just go by that criteria, there's only 3 teams that meet that, and that is the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Boston Celtics, and the Philadelphia 76ers. And if you want to go back to January 1st, cheat a little bit, the Bucks are also in that mix. So it's the top 4 teams in the East, no teams in the West. Obviously, things are a little bit different now in the NBA because teams just have gigantic changes in their roster during the season. That was never really a thing, and now it's a major thing. So could this be the year that this trend gets bucked again? It's very, very possible. It's just something to keep an eye on as we move forward this postseason, okay? Let's get right into these picks. Let's not waste any more time. I'm just going to go in order of the series I think are the easiest to predict, and we're going to finish with the series that I think is the most difficult to predict. And there's some great ones. There's some very good series on paper here. Part of me feels like we're overthinking some things a little too much, and we should just go with the team that's the best team. And it's really not as complicated as it seems, but we'll see, right? Let's just get right into it. Let's start with the Bucks series. As of the time I'm recording this, we don't know who's going to be the final play-in teams. Those games have yet to be played. They're being played tonight. And I'm just going to make this super simple. I'm going Bucks in 4 if it's Miami. I think this Heat team is done. And I'm going Bucks in 5 if it's the Chicago Bulls. And the reason why I'm giving the Bulls a game, right? The Bulls took a game last year against the Bucks, and that was sort of a similar talent disparity here. But the Bulls have been the best defense in the NBA since January 1st. So we got to give them some props there. Let's just say they have a game where they do a really good job. They force some turnovers, right? Giannis has a rough shooting game or doesn't shoot free throws well, and DeMar goes off. For the Heat, Bill Simmons has been calling them the zombies, like the zombie Heat. You don't want to face a zombie Heat in the playoffs. Okay, sure, they're zombies, but they're not like the World War Z zombies who are sprinting after you and are going to hunt you down and annihilate you. They're more like the Walking Dead zombies who are just slowly crawling around open fields, waiting to get put out of their misery. And the Bucks will put them out of their misery if they do win a play-in game tonight. I just think the Bucks are the best team. There's no point in really going in on this. I would be shocked if either of these series went to 6 games. Celtics-Hawks, again, it's just a talent thing. The Celtics are just much better than Atlanta is. Although I will say this, I have a good feeling in my bones Trae has a good series. I just do. On paper, the Celtics should be able to do a good job against him, although Trae's been pretty good against the Celtics this season. But I feel like he's ready to get that stench off of him from last postseason, right? That's something that's followed him. His reputation around the league had taken a huge hit because of that series against Miami last year. I'm thinking he plays pretty well. I'm not that concerned about him. I am concerned about DeJounte Murray because if the Hawks have any chance in the series, for the Hawks to have any chance in the series, they need DeJounte Murray to pretty much go toe for toe with Jaylen Brown. And I don't see it. He's been really, really terrible against the Celtics this season. 33 points on 35 shots in the 2 games they have played with, I think, 7 turnovers combined. So it's just been rough for him. I think that the Celtics team is just better. Again, there's no real point for Atlanta to win. Like, they have to do what they did against the Heat, which is out-rebound the shit out of them, get a bunch of second-chance points. The Celtics are one of the best rebounding teams in the NBA. So I don't think this is a great matchup for the Hawks. I think it's a great matchup for the Celtics. Like, Celtics fans were rejoicing at the fact that the Heat, again, I don't think they would have had trouble with the Heat either, but they were rejoicing at the fact that it was the Hawks instead of the Heat. I'll go Celtics in 5. I'll give Trae Young a game. I'll give the Hawks a game, but this feels like a gentleman's sweep to me. Sixers and Nets. Let's just get these Eastern Conference series out of the way. The Eastern Conference is so top heavy. These top tier teams are just flat out better than the teams below them. Although there are people who think this series right here can get a little bit frisky. And I can see it, right? This Nets team, it's not like there's some super young, inexperienced team. Pretty much everybody on this roster has legit postseason experience. Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, these guys were in NBA Finals. Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, these guys were in the Western Conference Finals a year ago, man. Fuck! Since the trade deadline, Mikal Bridges averaging 26 points per game. Since the trade deadline, in 26 games, it's not like it's a super small sample. It's like a third of the season. Mikal Bridges, 26 points per game, over 60% true shooting. Like, he is blossoming into a legit all-star level player if he were able to do this over the course of an entire season. But the problem is here, if he's the focal point of your offense, you're just not long for this world. Like, that's just it. Your team is not long for the postseason. If Mikal Bridges, God bless him, I'm loving what I'm seeing from him. It's a great story. But if he's the focal point of your offense, it's going to be rough. They've been a bottom tier offense since the trade. They are actually, since the trade deadline, they have been the worst offense left in the playoffs. So I think the Sixers take care of business here. The only real way I could see the Sixers struggling or even losing the series is if they do Sixers shit. Like, that's it. Like, that's definitely on the table. Don't get me wrong. Doc Rivers, Embiid, Harden, these guys aren't necessarily known for their postseason performances, right? But I can't imagine a world in which they fuck around in this series. And I just think they're locked in. I just have a good feeling about them this year. I just do. I'm going Sixers in 5. But my ultimate prediction is the Sixers lose game 1 at home. It's a weird noon Saturday game early, the first game of the playoffs, right? Everybody's a little bit excited. Nobody knows really what to expect. You drop game 1 at home. Sixers fans literally have shit in their pants. Like, it's a scenario I want to see happen, and it's my prediction. I am going Sixers in 5, though. I don't think they have too much trouble. Let's get to a sneaky series here. A sneaky series. Let's get to the Nuggets series, okay? They're either going to play the Timberwolves or the Thunder. Both matchups, very, very different. Very different matchups for the Nuggets, both of them presenting their own problems. And whenever I was doing research for this, if I'm a Nuggets fan, I think I'm honestly hoping the Timberwolves win. Sure, they've got the size, right? They've got Cat, they've got Gobert. Those are the things you need against Jokic. Jokic has historically done a pretty decent job against Gobert, though, although I would imagine they would stick Cat on Jokic, have Gobert play like Aaron Gordon, and like Gobert help off, in which case Aaron Gordon's going to have a really, really good series against the Nuggets. But I'm sorry, against the Timberwolves, if that series does in fact happen. But I just think they would take care of business. The Thunder scare me. And here's why, right? They are small as shit. Like, Jokic would average 25 and 20 in that series. Over the course of the series, he would. But they're so small. They move the ball. They're smart offensively. They attack the basket. They're going to have Jokic running around like a maniac in that series. The Nuggets are going to have to exert a lot of energy in that series. I think they win either way. But it's not going to be a fun one. And let's keep in mind here, there could be some like senioritis happening here for the Nuggets where the last 2 months of the season they knew they were going to be the 1 seed. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm already checked out mentally from the regular season. I'm ready for the playoffs. But they went 15 and 12 after the trade deadline with a plus 1.3 point differential, which was 15th in the league. They've been pretty mediocre. I know Jokic has missed a lot of time, but their depth is an issue. Their bench has been terrible, more terrible than usual lately. It seems like people in the organization are on edge. Like, Michael Malone is saying stuff in the press that's concerning to me before a playoff series. Like, a coach feeling the heat like that. I'm going Nuggets in 6 in both of these series. I think they do win. But I think it's going to be very similar to the Suns and Pelicans series a year ago, where the Suns were this buzzsaw team in the regular season. They were the favorites to win the championship. Everybody was loving them. And then they go up against the Pelicans in round one, and the Pelicans pushed them to 6 games. I know Devin Booker was hurt in that series, but the Pelicans pushed them to 6 games, and it was like, oh shit, this Suns team is beatable. And then the Suns went on to lose in the next round, of course, the Dallas Mavericks. Fuck, man. Where did it all go wrong? The rest of these series are, wow. The rest of these series are spicy, guys. Clippers and Suns. I wish Paul George. We don't know the Paul George situation. It does sound like he's going to miss probably the entire series. Like, that's probably my guess. But, man, if he were healthy and ready to go, this one would probably be the spiciest series available. But without him, you're going to need God, Kawhi Leonard, which is possible. Okay, I think from what we've seen over the past 2 years, 3 years, Kawhi is probably the best playoff performer in the Western Conference right now. I witnessed this man with my own 2 eyes annihilate the Dallas Mavericks, spit on them, right? Put them out of their misery, build them up to make them think that they were kings, and just slice them down as they're walking to the throne to beat the Clippers in the first round. It was an evisceration. I'm not lying when I say this stat to you. Before Kawhi Leonard tore his ACL, the Clippers won 6 games in the postseason in 2021. He did not miss a single shot in the fourth quarter of any of those games. 100, 100, 100 shooting splits, ladies and gentlemen. This man is an absolute killer, and they're going to need him to be at the tippity top of his game if they have any chance to beat this Suns team. And since January 1st, he's averaging 27 points per game, 52% shooting, and 46% from 3. This is Kawhi Leonard, 46% from deep, and that's what the Clippers are going to have to do. They're just going to have to bomb away threes. This is where the Suns are weak. This is where you can beat them. It's what the Mavericks did last year. Obviously, Kevin Durant wasn't there, but they still play a pretty similar style, which is you're going to have to bomb away threes and hope that you hit your threes at a high clip, because the Suns, they like that mid-range game. They like the methodical offense. They don't really like shooting threes, although they will, and they're pretty good at it, but they like getting to their spots. They like shooting mid-range pull-up jumpers, right? The Clippers, 39% from 3 since the trade deadline. I think that was 3rd best in the league. They've been bombing them. They've been hitting them, but Phoenix, since the trade deadline, has given up the fewest corner threes in the NBA. So they're clamping up on that. They understand that's how teams are going to try to beat them. I'm very interested to see how this series plays out. Unfortunately, because of the Paul George stuff, I can't get there. I really want to. As a Suns hater, I want to so badly, but I'm actually going Suns in 5. And that feels super aggressive, I know, but man, you're going to need Kawhi to be a god. You're going to need Chris Paul to play like a shriveled up grandfather, which is definitely possible. We've seen it. You're going to need Ayton to play like a little child, which is definitely possible. We've seen it, but it's just, you need a perfect series. You need Batum to play the defense of his life and knock down threes. You need Zubac to go crazy, 15, 20 rebound games. You need like Eric Gordon to shoot 45% from 3 over the course of the series. That's the stuff you're going to need in order to win, and that's a tall task. And we haven't even gotten to the Westbrook KD side of things. Think about how crazy the NBA is now, that Westbrook and KD playing each other in the playoffs is just like not being discussed at all. I have barely even heard it. You're going to need Russ to have legit impact in this game. You're going to have him attack nobody guarding him. They're leaving him wide open. He's going to have to knock down a few threes. He's going to have to attack the rim, draw contact, suck in the defense and kick it out. The Clippers are going to have to play perfect in this series, and I don't know. It's tough for me to imagine that. The Suns haven't lost without KD yet. Granted, I was looking through their schedule. The toughest team they've played in that stretch has, honest to God, just if you look at who played in the games, has honestly probably been the Dallas Mavericks. That's where we're at. So, I don't want to say that they're this unbeatable juggernaut, but nonetheless, I have the Suns in 5. That's my prediction. Lakers and Grizzlies. Woo! This one's intense. You guys know at the top of the video, I talked about half-court offense, how important it is. It is very, very rare to win a championship if your half-court offense is not top 10 in the league. And even the teams that were outside of the top 10 were right outside of it. Memphis has, out of every playoff team, if you don't count Miami, who's a play-in team currently, every playoff team, they have the worst half-court offense in the NBA. Now, if you go back to the trade deadline, they are 11th, which is, I think, good enough, especially when you pair that with their defense, which has been tremendous. And they're going to need Ja Morant to go off. I think, to me, the deciding factors in this series are Grizzlies things. Because the Lakers, yeah, they need to knock down some shots, but they're probably going to have the 2 best guys on the floor throughout this series, which is huge. And that's where Ja Morant comes in. When the series ends, we have to look back and say, Ja Morant was actually the best player on the floor. He outplayed Anthony Davis, he outplayed LeBron James, or he was the second best player on the floor. He outplayed LeBron, or he outplayed AD. That's what they need in order to win this series. They need a big, big, big series from Ja. And Ja's had some big moments in the playoffs, so I think it's definitely possible. And obviously, Jaren Jackson, he can't be in foul trouble. He just cannot. These teams played 3 times this season. He had 5 fouls in each of the 3 games. That cannot happen. He's going to have to play 37, 38 minutes here. All right, he's going to have to do it in an effort to stop AD. And I think Xavier Tillman, too, if by the end of this series, more people are aware of Xavier Tillman, more people are saying, holy shit, Xavier Tillman, is he going to get $15 million in free agency? If more people are saying that, the Grizzlies have won the series. Okay, that's where we're at. The Grizzlies are going to have to do things. They're going to have to play good defense on AD. I think Xavier Tillman's getting that assignment. And Jaren Jackson Jr. cannot get in foul trouble. And that's what really, 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 really scares me. The thing that scares me the most, this isn't real analysis. This is just vibes and everything. We have the possibility, and it's a strong possibility too, of a Lakers-Warriors second-round matchup. LeBron versus Steph, probably the 2 most popular franchises in the NBA right now, meeting in round 2. That is a wet dream for Adam Silver, okay? He wakes up and has to change pants immediately. If a call or 2 is made and Jaren Jackson Jr. has 3 fouls in the first 7 minutes of the game, that's scary. That's a scary thing for me. And if that's the way that the series is officiated, I struggle to see a way that Grizzlies win. I'm just being brutally honest. But the thing here that's swaying me a little bit, the Grizzlies they do have home court advantage. They are the best home team in the NBA this season. They were 18-1. I saw this stat. 18-1 in primetime home games. They just straight up do not lose it. I'm going Grizzlies in 7. That's my pick. I think this is going to be a incredibly fun series, an incredibly entertaining series, and I just think the Grizzlies pull it out in the end. I think they're the better team, and I think they have home court advantage, and that will just swing the series, right? Unless there's some crazy officiating, which is always possible, I'm going Grizzlies. This one hurts. This one's not going to be very popular, I don't think. Look, the Kings, we love them. They're a great story. I think Draymond said what he said about wanting to play the Kings for a reason. He came back out and was like, no. I mean, it's an easy travel. Like, it's just easy. We can get on the bus. Like, it's a 45-minute flight. Like, it's super easy. I don't think that's what he meant, guys. I think he knew what he meant, and I don't think that was it. Okay, here's the reality. The Kings are a great story. The fact of the matter is, these super green teams, these teams with not a lot of postseason experience, okay, they typically struggle in their first postseason run. Very, very, very rarely do teams make the playoffs and then immediately go on runs. A lot of the times they don't even win series. Like, you have to make it 1, 2, 3 times, right? Lose series, lose in the first round. Oh, we made the second round. We lost in the second round. You got to take your bumps and your bruises before you're really ready to go. And for the Kings, defensively, how can you overlook it? How can you overlook how bad this team has been defensively? It's really hard to. They've been 25th in defense since the trade deadline. That is the worst in the playoffs by a healthy margin. This Warriors team, I've seen it with my own 2 eyes, guys. Trust me. I witnessed it last year. They will figure out what it is, what your weak spot is, how they can attack it, and they will do it relentlessly until you adjust. And then they will attack the adjustments you made. They will figure out the weak spot in your adjustments, and they will hunt it and attack it relentlessly until you get to a point where there's just literally nothing left we can do. We are fucked. We have to hope Steph misses shots. We have to hope Clay misses shots. That's our only chance. I know they have one of the best offenses ever. I think by offensive rating, it is the best offense of all time. But defense matters so much in the playoffs. It just, especially when you're going up against a team like the Warriors. Man, this isn't the Lakers. This isn't the Pelicans. God bless them. This isn't the Timberwolves. God bless them. This is the Warriors. They know how to win. I'm literally throwing out everything from the Warriors. I'm throwing out their road record. I don't give a fuck, okay? I do not care. And a big thing for me in this series, I tweeted this out. It sounds so stupid because home court is so important. But the Kings' home court is so loud. It's so crazy. It is such a college-like atmosphere that I think it almost might work against the Kings in the sense that they might get too amped. They might get too hype. I've seen this in Kings games that I've watched where it feels like the crowd's getting so into it that the team almost presses a little bit, and it kind of works against them. I just looked up the stat. This is probably a meaningless ass stat, but I just wanted to see if my eye test had if there was anything to my eye test. And the Kings against top 10 teams in the league at home were like 20th in net rating. They weren't this like juggernaut home team, right? I just feel like Game 1, I'm imagining the Warriors walking in. Steph drops 35 points. The Warriors win, and it's just a punch in the mouth. It's like, holy shit. Like, this is serious. This is Golden State. They've won 4 rings in the last, 7, 8 years. They've been to 6 championships. They know exactly what they're doing. I'm going Warriors in 5. It sucks. It really does. It hurts me to say that. It pains me to say that. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the series is much more competitive than that. but I can't look past the defense. I really cannot. If it was a little tiny bit better, I could maybe say, okay. If it was 19th, 18th, I don't think that's enough to win a championship, but that is enough for me to say, you know what, they might beat the Warriors, who are a little bit who are struggling a little bit this year. But I just can't do it. And now we get to the hardest series to predict, a series that I still don't have. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to discuss it, but I do not have a prediction written down here. By the time I finish, and by the time I hear myself speak and say some of these things, then I'll make a decision. It is the Knicks and the Cavaliers. Oh, man, this one is absolutely brutal. Cavs have the best defense in the league over the course of the entire season. But there's a number here that shocks me. That you'd have to do some deep digging, and I did. I watched every film there is to watch. I watched every game in the history of the NBA to get a better understanding of, who needs to do what to win. Trust me. But since January 1st, the Cavs, who are the best defense in the NBA, keep that in mind, are 1-11 against teams that are top 10 in offense. 1-11. Their defensive rating plummets from 111, which again is the best in the NBA, to 125. What the fuck's going on there? Can somebody who's smarter and more intelligent when it comes to basketball please explain to me what is going on there? I know that they've dealt with a ton of injuries. I get that. But that is a shocking number. Since the trade deadline, the Knicks have been the best offense in the NBA. And since January 1st, they have the second best offense against top 10 defenses. The last time these two teams met, they dropped 133 points. Jalen Brunson went the fuck off. Okay, so I do not know what to expect from this series. I seriously have zero clue. This is an absolute coin flip. Julius Randle, what's up with him? If the Knicks want to win this series, they need him, and they need him to be good. They need him to be healthy. But again, they need him to be good. Julius Randle 2 years ago, I think this year is better. I think this is the best season he's had in his career. But 2 years ago, he had a great year. All-NBA, most improved player. He had a 42% true shooting percentage against the Hawks. He was a travesty. Okay, things might be a little bit easier for him now that Brunson is there, and he can be the focal point of the offense. He can create stuff, a lot less pressure on Julius Randle. So I don't think we're going to see anything near that for him, assuming he does play and he comes back soon. But he has to be good. RJ has to be good. If RJ stays on the floor, he might get played off the floor. I have no idea. Quentin Grimes, going to have to hit threes. Quickly, going to have to continue to play at the level he's played over the last few months. And Brunson is going to have to damn near be the best player in the series. Like, that has to happen for the Knicks to win. And this is an interesting matchup for Brunson. It just is. Like, length does bother him in the playoffs, right? He's gotten better. He's an incredible player. He's improved so much. But 2 years ago against the Clippers, he was a non-factor. He got played off the floor entirely, right? A big reason why the Mavericks lost that series was because Brunson just was not there. And then last year's playoffs, he was tremendous, but his play took a noticeable dive during the Warriors series. Again, most Mavericks players, their performance did take a noticeable dip in the series against the Warriors, but length can bother him over the course of a series. I'm interested in that. The Cavs, Donovan Mitchell has to be the best player on the floor, right? He's got to go off. Darius Garland's got to be like the second or third best player on the floor. Mobley's going to have to be the fourth best player on the floor. Like, they're going to have to do that. Jared Allen's going to have to outplay Mitchell Robinson. And whoever's the fifth guy is going to have to do good things. I don't know, guys. I don't fucking know here. My brain's telling me the Cavs. They're the home team, home court advantage. Since I can't decide it, I'll just go with them. But I'm going Knicks. I'm going Knicks in 7. Let's go. Let's ride. I'm going Jalen Brunson, man. Jalen Brunson dominated Donovan Mitchell a year ago. I know it's a different team, but I saw it with my own 2 eyes. It was insane what he was doing. I think Brunson is built for it. I think they're ready. They need Julius Randle back. Now that I'm saying all this out loud, my brain is telling me I'm a huge dumbass, which it does all the time, but this time it's a little bit more amplified. But I'm going Knicks in 7. Let's have some fun. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Woo! I can't wait.